Alright, so now I have most of the roof done. As you can see, it was quite the project. I don't know, the roof seemed like it took forever, but it's finally to the point where I could actually put some roofing material on it. So we're gonna let that stay like that for a while. We're gonna work on the gabled ends. I did start this gable end down here already. It's a little bit easier one to do. It only has two smaller rectangle windows, so the framing part is pretty straightforward. The other end has 3 trapezoid windows, and that's going to take a little bit more figuring out. The headers and stuff are going to be at an angle. So, and it's higher up. I don't have a work surface to stand on, so I'm going to have to use scaffolding. Over here I have the loft I can stand in and work. So decided to start on this end first. I'll take you in and show you where I'm at with it. We're getting pretty far on it. I only have a few more boards to do on this end, and then I can start working on the other end. Alright, so I did get both windows framed in up here. I just have this one little area here to finish off, and then the framing is complete for this gabled end. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this next stud right here. What I do is I measure over. I know I have all my marks lined out. I'm doing 24 inches on center, and I have all that marked out on the lower sill. Then I just take and measure up top to the next one, and then I shoot my laser up there at the lowest point of the angle and find out what my measurement is. And in this one, let's see what we get. So I just shoot my laser up from the bottom up to the short end of the angle, short side of the angle on top, to see what the measurement's going to be. So let's see what this one is. I get 6'4" and 5/16. So I'm gonna go ahead and go down and cut one for that. Bring it up and nail it in. Three more to go, and then this side's done. So now that I have my line here that matches up with the one down there, I need to find the line on the short side of the angle. And I found out that it's about 1 3/4 or 1 7/8 inches. So I'm just going to measure down 1 7/8 inches. Make another line. Now I know where to shoot my laser to. measure 1.5 inches for the width of the 2x6 for down here. I'll shoot the laser up there to find out what that distance is. Foot 7 and 7/8. So we'll go cut another board 4 foot 7 and 7/8. This rope is a 10-12 pitch, so the angle's right about 40 degrees. Turn this around 4. Alright, so I think I have a short one here. It's already got the angle on it, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut that one off at 1 foot 4 inches. Last one. That's it for this wall. Now we'll start the other wall. Probably not till tomorrow though. It is getting close to dinner time, so I think we've done enough for the day. Let me just pull it back a little bit here and show you what the whole wall looks like. Alright, so there it is. Both windows in. So now all we gotta do is put the plywood on the outside, and then the log siding goes over that. Get the 2 windows in, and we're pretty much weather tight for this wall. Yeah, I think it looks good. So the battery died. I did take this one down and cut it to the right size, got it back up there just fine. So right now I'm going to try to put some screws in, see if I can suck it up to the ceiling a little bit tighter. The nails seem to have a little gap in the board still, so I'm going to put a washer on a screw and see if that sucks it up better. It did suck it up a little bit. I'm just going to put some in a couple spots. I don't need to do the whole thing. Alright. That actually sucked it up pretty good. Nice and tight. I'm going to put one more down lower, and that's it. Alright, well that's it for today. So I'm happy that I got the sill down and the plate up. So tomorrow I can work on the studs and get all the windows framed in. But that's all I'm going to do today. Hi everyone, good morning. Today we're going to work on the front gable. Start putting the studs in. I did put the first 2 in actually. Now the next one I put in is going to be a jack stud for the window. So that's going to hold the header. These are trapezoid windows in the front, so the header is going to be at an angle. So first one we got to cut at 19.5 inches for that jack stud. And then we'll put the header in there. So we're going to go down and we'll take a look at the drawing and see what length we need to make these studs for the window opening. Okay, so from our drawing we can see that from the top of the log, the wall log, the last wall log, to the top of this opening in the window, it is 7 3/4 of an inch. And if we look over here, we can see that from that window opening, the bottom of the window opening, to the top of the log is 11 3/4. So if we add those two together, we get 19 1/2. That's how I know that the first jack stud that I have to cut is 19 1/2 inches. So I'm going to go cut that right now. Because this is a jack stud, we don't need to put our angle on the top. The header itself will be angled. So now our header will come up like this. We'll meet up with our jack stud on the other side of the window opening. I'm not nailing these yet. I'm gonna set all of them in place, or a few of them in place, before I nail anything. So now we got to figure out what our next jack stud is. Actually, we got to figure out what our next stud is, and then put our jack stud inside of that. So all that I do with that is I take a long level, find plumb, and set it on the inside mark of the stud, and then mark it at the top at the plumb line, and then measure from there. See what that length is. There might be better ways to do it than that, but this is the way I figured out to do this, and it works pretty good. And then I get 63 7/8. So we'll go ahead and cut that one. So 63 7/8, and because this one goes from the sill all the way up to the plate, I'll need to cut this at my 40-degree angle on the top. Alright, now I'll just go stick it up there and see how it fits. Alright, perfectly level. I'm just going to let this one sit there for a minute. So now I need to cut my jack stud for the header to sit on this side. So we can go to the drawing and see what that length is. Alright, so looking at the drawing, this window opening here shows as 3 feet 3 1/16, and then from the bottom of our log again to the top of the bottom of the window opening is 11 3/4. So we just add those two together, and that'll give us our jack stud height. So we need it to be 50 13/16 if we add those together. So I'm going to go cut that. Alright, so again, because this is a jack stud, we cut this one square. Let's go put it up. Alright, so that fits nice. So now I'm gonna have to start nailing these, and then I'll make my header to go between there. And actually looking at this now, I am gonna have to cut these at my 40-degree angle, which is not a problem. I'll just go ahead and take them down now and cut that. Because the header has to go at an angle up in there, and it's got to lay flat on these jack studs, so I will need to cut that at a 40-degree angle. So I'm going to do that, nail these up, start building the header, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, well this one's done. The opening here is where the window goes. And this opening measures exactly what the drawing says it should. 7 3/4 inches here, and 3'3" and a 1/16 here. 3'1" and 9/16 here. So this is where the window goes. The window should fit just fine in here. So now we can move on to the next one. So there's 4 windows we got to do on this gable. Full disclosure before I move on, I've never built an opening for a trapezoid window, and I did make some mistakes. First thing is, you have to have your jack studs at the same angle as your roof, which is in this case 40 degrees for this header. This particular jack stud has to go the opposite direction or the same direction as this one as far as the angle goes, so that the header can sit on top of it. But after I figured this out, everything else went pretty smooth. One thing I did do is the drawing says that the measurement for this opening here, for the bottom sill opening, should be 11 3/4 inches. Well, I looked at the drawing, and I know that Voyager had told me that I had forgot that measurement is actually to the top of this last log on the wall. So I would have had to measure underneath the sill. I measured from the top, so that messed me up there. So I figured out from the drawing that I had to measure from here. Once I did that, everything else came out good. So you live and learn. I mean, homesteading, one of the reasons we do it ourselves, and we get to learn new things. So I learned. So now I'm moving on. I can move on to the next window, and I'll show you what it all looks like when it's done.